Howdy, it's Jim Murado. This is late March 2024, and we're at the Serpent Mound State Park in southern Ohio. I'm going to let we're right in front of the museum. We're about to go into the museum. We'll walk around the museum a little bit, and then we'll go see the actual mound, and I'll talk to you a little more after we go through the museum.
The evidence we have to look to is the serpent itself and what's underneath the serpent.
What appears to be a relatively straightforward question is confounded by how the serpent was originally made.
It is, in fact, a very complicated archaeological context, and you could run 1 million radiocarbon dates from charcoal there, and you'll probably get 1 million different answers. That's the nature of the beast, that Serpent Mound. It's a difficult puzzle to figure out.
Workers gleaned topsoil and nearby underlying earth and hauled it, basketful by basketful, to form the giant effigy. But that very same earth already contained thousands of years of carbon residue from natural forest fires, lightning strikes, and human-made campfires from previous cultures.
You know, it's a real challenge, actually, to date any earthwork because of this problem of, well, how do you build these things with dirt? Well, what's in the dirt? All kinds of stuff from previous occupations. And the only way to date these sorts of places firmly is to dig them up enough where you find features in them or directly underneath them.
Adding to the puzzle, several distinct cultures have left their mark at this very place. Evidence of human activity goes back 10,000 years to when Paleo-Indians hunted Ice Age giants. Continental glaciers of the Pleistocene melted out of Ohio 14,000 years ago. And then, around 3,000 years ago, people began to domesticate plants, tend gardens, and move into more permanent homes. Some constructed burial mounds and circular earthwork enclosures, the Adena culture. The Hopewell culture evolved from the Adena, and they became masters of geometry, creating immense walls in the shapes of circles, squares, and polygons, as well as producing sophisticated artwork. Later, the Fort Ancient culture was anchored by farmers. They cultivated fields of maize, replaced the atlatl with the bow and arrow, and continued to make use of earthworks in their ceremonial grounds. Close to Serpent Mound are 2 burial mounds of the Adena culture, and a third belonging to the later Fort Ancient people. Both cultures had habitation sites on the promontory. It is not clear which, if either, first built and maintained Serpent Mound, but we do have some clues from their archaeology.
The singularity of Serpent Mound doesn't attach it to any particular culture, but the importance of serpents in the iconography of the Fort Ancient culture is significant.
The Fort Ancient culture in Ohio is contemporary with the Mississippian culture found to the south and west. The Fort Ancient people were strongly influenced by the Mississippians. Some of the same symbols or icons are seen in pottery and are shared between the two cultures. Serpents appear often and seem to be an important part of the iconography of the Fort Ancient and Mississippian peoples.
We see the icons and symbols of later cultures seem to emphasize the serpent more. So there is some thought, and it is supported by some carbon-14 dating, that Serpent Mound is possibly of Fort Ancient culture origin.
Whoever built it, Serpent Mound is in a class of its own. Only one other effigy mound has been identified in Ohio. But the mystery runs even deeper. Serpent Mound seems to have been built with astronomical alignments in mind.
Serpent Mound is aligned to where the sun sets on the summer solstice. If you stand at the neck and sight across the center of the oval, which I think was the serpent's eye, and there once was a stone altar there that had evidence of burning, that alignment from the neck across that altar points directly at the setting sun on the summer solstice.
And there's more. 3 major bends in the serpent form avenues roughly aligned to the summer and winter solstice sunrises. And on the spring and autumn equinoxes, both the sun rises and the sun sets. Now, ground-penetrating radar and new technologies are allowing us to look literally into the earth and back in time.
We detected what looked to me to be a new undulation in the shape of the serpent coming off of the right side of the neck, right below where the head attaches to the body. And this wasn't just a little squiggle in the magnetic data. This was a full-on shape of a coil that looked exactly like the shape and size and geometry of the other coils. It doesn't seem to fit with today's iteration of the serpent. This coil was associated with a different version of the serpent than we see today. And I think I can say with some degree of certainty that this is a case of them probably changing the plan. It looks to me that this extra coil...
Alright, and that was a quick look through the museum here at Serpent Mound. Pretty interesting. It's a small museum, obviously, but it packs a wallop. And they've got a little interesting video that plays there. There's a gift shop there, too. I always pick up postcards, stickers, patch. They had patches were $8, stickers were $6. And a tad pricey, but yeah, inflation. But I still had to pick a few up, of course. They had a lot of books too, but I didn't see any one that just stuck out to me. If you know of a good book on Serpent Mound, let me know. And we're about to walk down to Serpent Mound. You can see the observation tower there kind of to the right. I'll put up a couple of photos of it towards the end of this video too, just for you to check out. But yeah, there's the observation tower, and there was a little marker about the tower specifically, and it mentions that the Columbus Wire and Ironworks Company built the Serpent Mound Observation Tower in 1908. That's 6,000 pounds or 3 tons of steel. It cost $500 to build back then, and it would cost about $250,000 to build now. It also mentions that the ancient American Indians really wouldn't have had a vantage point to see the mound. And since the observation tower was not functioning, it's closed for repairs, we weren't able to see it either. But you can take, it's basically just a walking trail around the Serpent Mound, and you can see how it's built up. I read on another marker that it's sort of built on the edge of a crater, which made sense to me as you look around. You know, especially as you look towards the right there. You know, we're kind of up on a hill. And the markers also mentioned that they believe there was an extra coil in the serpent at one point that was sort of dug up and straightened out, I guess you would say. So somebody at some point altered the Serpent Mound. There's a fella down there taking pictures.
Turkey?
We could hear a turkey. I couldn't see the turkey from here. I wondered if he could see it. I was hoping to bump into him before we left to ask him if he got a look at the wild turkeys, but we did not see him after that moment. Also, when it comes to these effigy mounds, they're very mysterious. I don't think anybody really knows for sure, you know, who put them there, which particular culture put them there, or even when they were built. Obviously, at some point, you know, some culture, you know, built this mound up, and they built it in the shape of a serpent. So it was, you know, very, very, very special to some culture, and that's something kind of cool to think about. The whole park, if you circle the serpent, go through the museum, you could definitely hit this place, oh heck, in half an hour if you wanted to breeze through it. But it's just nice taking a stroll through and being able to look and see where that Serpent Mound is. There is also, I believe, a gator-shaped mound elsewhere in Ohio, and even that is, like this Serpent Mound, it's kind of mysterious. They think it's a gator, but it could be a possum or something else. So, I mean, there's just a whole lot of speculation about who put these mounds there and what they meant exactly. There's a good shot of, you can kind of see the coiling on the serpent. I do know I've got, I believe, most of the Chris Woodyard books, the Haunted Ohio books, and she brings up the Serpent Mound in, I think, Volume 2 and Volume 4. She gives a couple pages, I think, about local legends of actual large snakes here at the Serpent Mound that were reportedly seen. So, I just thought I'd mention that. Nice walk, checking things out. Yeah, kind of, you can, get a good feel of the Serpent Mound there. And again, we were in this area. We stayed at Murfin Ridge Inn, about 20-25 miles south of here. Very Amish area in this neck of the woods of southern Ohio. And we had just had a really nice, relaxing 3-day weekend up in this area. And this is just a great area to have a relaxing 3-day weekend. We stopped at a couple of the Amish businesses. There's a Yoder's Furniture, bulk food kind of place, and then there was also Miller's down in West Union, a similar place. Had a really nice pretzel there. But yeah, just a great area for driving through and checking out stuff like this. Also some President Grant sites. I don't know, maybe an hour and a half from here that we did not make it to, but I'm going to save that for another day. Leaving the parking lot, had a nice little visit to Serpent Mound, and hope to get back here. I mean, it's we saw it. It's mysterious. You see something like this, and it kind of raises more questions once you see it than kind of providing an explanation. It's, again, they're not exactly sure when it was built or who built it, and I think that's kind of neat. Been to Cahokia Mound in Illinois, right across the river from St. Louis, and that's a pretty cool place too. Again, similar to this. It's there, and there's a kind of a mystery around who put it there and why. So these spots are pretty neat. It's kind of a treat to get to go see them, and as you can tell, not a lot of other people there. I don't know, maybe there was a football game or something, so people went and did something else. But you can go and see this and feel like you've got a nice park like this all to yourself. I believe it was $10 a car to park at this state park, which is very reasonable. And yeah, just again a nice area, and we enjoyed being here. Slowly went by the signs. They've marked out part of the description. I don't know what that's about. I don't know if the title of this state park changed at some point, but they marked out a little bit of the sign there. Just took note of that. Anyway, let me know what you think about Serpent Mound. Have you been there? Any thoughts on it? Yeah, there's just a quick picture of that observation tower that's closed currently for repairs.